Welcome back, everyone. And if you're new here, please allow me to give you, a brief interruption to who and what this channel is all about. My name is Will Finley, and I am an independent crime journalist with a degree from Washington State University in journalism. And I am also the creator here on 411 Now. And I would like to welcome you. If you enjoyed this content or any of the other videos that are linked in the top or in the description of the video below on this subject on Josh Duggar, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. To all my supporters, viewers, and subscribers out there who are returning to watch this video, thank you very much. I'd like to welcome you back, and I wouldn't and couldn't do any of this without you. Thank you very much. Again, from me to you. Again, like I just said, today we are taking a look at Josh Duggar's case again. The federal government just rested their side of the case against Josh Duggar, and it's now time for the defense to try to poke some holes in the actual case against Josh Duggar. The prosecution hit major hard on this case. They drove the nail home that this was only Josh Duggar. Only Josh Duggar had access to the computer. Only Josh Duggar could have downloaded this pornography, and only Josh Duggar had access to this actual computer. So much so, ladies and gentlemen, the federal government gave a minute-by-minute timeline from when the child pornography was being downloaded to when the last file was actually downloaded. And they were able to not only put Josh Duggar at the actual car dealership, they were able to prove that intermittently between the first Josh Duggar logging in and Josh Duggar logging out of the computer, from the beginning to the end, they were able to prove the pornography being downloaded, then Josh Duggar logging in and using personal passwords and email addresses and everything else to access personal accounts, banking being one of them, to log in and access that stuff. And the passwords weren't saved on the computer. He manually typed them in. They're showing a minute-by-minute timeline through the entire thing. If somebody else had access, remote access to the computer, they were doing a damn good job of acting like Josh Duggar. So much so, they knew the new password that Josh Duggar didn't even have saved anywhere at all. They showed Josh Duggar logging in, pornography being downloaded, Josh Duggar accessing bank accounts, Josh Duggar downloading pornography, then additional pornography and still photographs, then accessing additional personal websites with a new password that he didn't have before, that he had recently changed. And then additional pornography, and then logging out. If it was somebody else who worked for the dealership, I don't know how the defense is going to show that Josh Duggar had changed passwords for only accounts that he would need access to, that have nothing to do with the business at all. And downloading pornography, accessing those accounts, downloading pornography, and then accessing those other accounts again. That really hit home. That is some major, major scores. And see, again, from back to what I told everybody before in one of the other videos on Josh Duggar. When it comes to the federal government and prosecuting cases like child pornography, they have a better than 93% success rate of prosecution of his cases. They don't bring them unless they can support everything around that entire event and actual distribution and access to it all. They proved that Josh Duggar accessed sites that had child pornography. They proved that. Then, on additional days, they were able to prove that Josh Duggar, minute by minute, accessed downloaded pornography, accessed other sites with his own personal information, downloaded pornography again, and then accessed another account and additional pornography, then downloaded, and then log out. Who would know all that information? None of those passwords or access information had been stored on that computer. All of it had been stored on the laptop and on his cell phone, not on this computer. And that's a major blow. And you could see it in the faces of the defense team and Josh Duggar. They didn't know that the federal government was going to be able to prove it that much and nail that coffin shut right then and there. And on top of that, let's just say that's a couple of points for the prosecution. They nailed every single aspect of their allegations against him, and they didn't nail it just once. They nailed that sucker shut every single step along the way. So the prosecution has rested their case. Now the defense is up to try to poke some holes somewhere in the timeline or any of these allegations at all. The stand to rebut what the federal government said didn't work out very well at all. This person tried to say that yes, this information could have been the computer could have been remotely accessed. It could have had pornography downloaded to it. Josh wouldn't have known about it at all. And then it was there, and then they came and arrested him. Then they went on a little bit about that and how the remote access works and everything else. And you could see the prosecution, the federal government just licking their chops, going, shut up. Just give us a chance to come up there and rebut what you're saying. Oh, and they did. Oh, they hit them hard. And their actual witness on the stand waffled all over, trying to explain how it all happened and how Josh never would have known about it. Because see, what the defense was trying to say was somebody remotely accessed the computer, downloaded the pornography, and Josh didn't know it was there. But somebody remotely downloading that information to the computer wouldn't have been able to do it and download it only to a partitioned part of the hard drive. Boom! A huge victory for the actual prosecution. How would you download this information and download it only to a partitioned hard drive that only this side has pornography on it, but this side doesn't even know that side exists because this side is running spyware program on it for looking for pornography or for adultery? It's as if they never told him that the hard drive had been partitioned and they didn't know anything about it. Major points for the prosecution. How is the defense going to dig out from this? I don't know. I'm looking at their actual, list of people that they have planned to call as witnesses in this case. More character witnesses than anything at all. More to say, Josh is a good person. He wouldn't do this. But we already know, and the federal government has that ace sitting on the table right there. They're willing to play that ace at any moment, because the moment they put somebody on that they feel is even remotely credible in giving any kind of defense to Josh didn't do it, he wouldn't do things like this. They've got that child molestation of his sisters and the family friend. And here in a minute, after I'm done with this, I will address that in additional questions that people have about the case. But they're willing to play that ace at a given moment and lay it down and say, all right, you opened Pandora's box by putting this person on the stand and having them say it. Now we would like to call a rebuttal witness to it all and bring on either the family friend, one of the ministers from the church where Josh confessed directly to both of them about the molestation of his 4 sisters and the 7-year-old family friend. Here's the admissibility by the individual. How is this a great person who would never have child pornography when they've already molested their own family members and a family friend? They're going to have to tread really lightly on what the character witnesses actually talk about. They're not going to want to say anything about the pornography at all. Because if they open that box, you might as well just roll Josh over and put him in the prison for the rest of his life where he belongs. Because there is no defense. We know he's guilty left to right. The man never should have gotten this much freedom at all. From the moment he decided and made that conscious effort to touch his sisters, from that moment on, he should have been in prison or as so many people want. He should have been executed at that point. That's not the society we live in. So execution without prosecution or your ability to aid in your own defense is not the way that we live. Well, that's where we're at right now. The defense is trying to find some way to rebut what the federal government has already laid out, and it was a beautiful, case that they laid out, and they documented everything over and over again. With a greater than 90% success rate in cases like this, the government is not messing around. They cross their T's and dot their I's and check everything over and over again to make sure that there are multiples of different ways to convict you of that crime. Click the card that's here above or in the video description. Check out some of the other content. And if you like it, give this video a thumbs up. If you can consider subscribing, turn that subscribe button from red to gray. You don't have to click on anything else about being notified when I put up the next content, that bell icon, because half of the time it doesn't work. Just subscribe so you will at least have me page marked on the side so you can check out the next video. I put up new content on this channel 5 days a week. 5 days a week. Every single week of every single year. So I hope you will consider subscribing. To my returning subscribers, viewers, and supporters, thank you again. Now, I'm going to give you some additional content here at the end. Questions that have been asked of me in the comment section of the last 2 videos on Josh Duggar. So to answer additional questions that I was asked in the comment section about my last 2 videos on Josh Duggar. First off, if you ever want me to reply to your comment or if you want me to give you additional information, the best way to start off your comment is not by calling me a giant piece of shit or a liar or a narcissist or anything else like that. Try to think of it as if you're talking to your grandmother. If you speak to your grandmother that way, then I really feel sorry for her. But I'm never going to give you additional information if you call me names, make fun of me, or, basically ridicule me or whatever. That's not the way you start off a conversation. You don't walk up to someone you meet in the grocery store and go, "Hey, you giant piece of shit, come here. Let me ask you a question. Did you drop this $20 bill over there?" No? Oh, that's not how you ask somebody a question. Okay? Now to the very first question. Can I confirm that his father's name is Jim Bob Duggar? No, I can't. Let me explain. He was born James Robert Duggar. That is his father's legal birth name. But since the age of a child onward, as an adult, he has signed his name Jim Bob Duggar. Can I prove that? Yes, I can. On the actual release bail agreement to keep Josh Duggar safe and away from any kind of electronic devices that have access to the internet, he signed that agreement that for Josh to look over, watch out for Josh, to make sure Josh does exactly what the court was asking of him. He signed that Jim Bob Duggar. I knew his name is James Bob Duggar, Robert Duggar. Everybody knows that, or at least they should know that. But I call him Jim Bob Duggar because that's how he legally signs his name on the agreement with TLC for the TV show 19 Children and Counting, on that actual television show contract, which you can find online. Bob Duggar. If he signs his driver's license, his contracts, and everything else legal-wise as Jim Bob Duggar, I'm going to refer to him as Jim Bob Duggar. All right? So when I say, yeah, his name is really Jim Bob Duggar, I mean that's his name because he's gone by that name since he was a child. All right. Additional question that was asked in my last video. I thought his youngest victim was 3 years of age. Why did you say his youngest victim was 7? Have you even watched any of the trial? End quote on that entire thing. Yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm streaming it right now behind you. And, the actual defense is up on, putting their case forward. So the volume is turned off, but I'm watching on closed caption right now behind you. I've watched every moment of this case, and I've been reporting on it since his actual arrest. Now, his youngest victim on video only was as young as 3 years of age. This little girl is not identified. They don't know who she is. There is no truth to that this person has made a video that has been taken down off of social media. If this person was identified and the federal government knew about it, they would have trot that sucker out there on video, in this case, and they would have had it as, one of their key star witnesses, even if they weren't to be, cross-examined in a court case, in the actual courtroom itself. They would have had them do something in this. But that little girl has not been identified by Homeland Security or the FBI, and she is about 3 years of age, based on the actual bone structure and size of the actual child itself. No, I haven't seen the video, nor do I ever want to see the video. That's the youngest victim on video only. The youngest victim that he actually physically molested was, again, 7 years of age. 4 sisters, 1 family friend who was 7 years of age. Those are his victims. Now, what about the 15-year-old? I got a lot of comments about the 15-year-old babysitter. In Josh Duggar's actual confession to at least 1 family friend, he confessed to 2 family friends, and then over here he confessed to his mom and dad and to the church elders. Okay? So there are 4 total people that he confessed to. This was all one confession, and these were 2 individual confessions, 2 individuals and 2 individual times. The confession that he gave never mentioned the 15-year-old babysitter to his mom and dad and to the church elders. That was never in the confession, along with the 1 family friend over here. He never confessed to molesting the 15-year-old babysitter. Now, the other family friend, he very well may have confessed to molesting the babysitter and all the others, but he did not admit to molestation of the 15-year-old in his confession to the mom and dad or the church elders. That is the confession that I'm going with, because that's 2, you actually have 5 people total there that he confessed to, and it's not in the actual statements at all. Nor is it in the statement to this 1 family friend over here. I'm taking the preponderance of the evidence here and that he didn't confess to it. She has made statements that it happened. Now, at that point, once she made the admissions that it happened, I'm not saying that it never happened. I believe that she said that, and that she actually, lived through this traumatic event. Do not ever call me a victim basher. I am here as a victim's advocate, and everything that I do is about the victim, not the perpetrator. I don't care about the perpetrator at all. They can all rot in hell, for as far as I am concerned. The victims are the people who need their voices heard. Did he molest the babysitter? I say yes. Did he molest 4 sisters under their clothing or over their clothing? I say under and some over. I don't buy his version of the truth, and nor does his other 2 sisters and their statements that they have actually released to Court TV and to Inside Edition. I don't believe that they would say something different about Josh than what Josh did. So, babysitter, yes. 4 sisters, yes. That's 5 total right there. The family friend is 6. He molested at least 6. There may be more. I don't believe that at any point in time that Josh Duggar didn't do anything inappropriate with his own 2 daughters, either bathing them, changing them, somewhere along the line. In his sick mind, he looked at that and said, I can do this. You don't take the pedophile and the child molester and flip it off like a light switch. I've got an entire shelf of psychology books over here that I use as references. And there isn't anywhere in there, in any of those textbooks at all, that says that pedophilia can be cured, that a child molester can be cured of their, predispositions to want to molest or touch children of a certain age. Nowhere. Everyone is in agreement, from the professional side to those out here in the world. You can't cure it. All you can do is try to stop it from ever happening again, and make sure that they understand that this is a victim. If you're consuming the pornography, or if you're victimizing them in person by touching them personally, you're victimizing them. And they don't have that switch for some reason in their head that says that this is a victim. You can't cure it. It's not a disease. It's an illness. There's a difference between the two. Josh has an illness that he can never be cured of. He should never be allowed around his own daughters. He should never be allowed around any child under the age of 15 at all. His pornography that his wife caught him with back when he got busted through the Ashley Madison scandal, people are forgetting about the pornography there that he admitted to having an addiction to. That pornography was of adults dressing up as school children and acting as if they were younger in the pornography. Not normal pornography again. He's not a normal person. He's sick in the damn brain, and he's never going to be able to be cured. I hope that these additional, answering these questions sheds some light on the actual events around Josh Duggar. Thank you very much again for joining me today. If you like this comment, and if you've been here a while, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. So YouTube will use that information to push this out to more people, so more people can enjoy the content that you have been enjoying all these times. Thank you very much again for being here. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, check out the videos that I've either linked in the beginning part at the top, or in the comment section below in the actual video description. I'm here and I upload content for you 5 days a week. I work damn hard at this, and I document everything that I just said in this video, and the answer after. What I'm talking about is factually documented. You have a great day today, and a safe and happy holiday weekend and month ahead. Bless you all.